Judge,
Your
I
Honor,
have not,
go ahead. Go ahead,
oh,
Bailey.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say, I have not been able to get a hold of my client. I've called her multiple times and left voicemails, but I haven't talked to her yet. And I don't believe that Lauren has either.
That's correct, Your Honor. I haven't been able to get in touch with her. There a number was provided to us, but I reached out also and I have made no connection with her.
All right, Ms. Ricks, are you here for the Davidson case?
Yes, I am.
All right. Ms. Davidson is not logged in, and her attorney or her guardian they've had no contact with her. Have you had any contact with her recently?
Not for several days. I guess earlier this week, she was willing to text back and forth with me, but I have not been able to make contact with her since. I was the one that provided them with the other contact information, but I don't think anyone was successful in reaching her yesterday afternoon.
Judge, my worker hasn't been able to reach her either. She's gone by where she's supposedly staying a couple different times with no luck.
And Judge, is Mercedes Hodge in the waiting room?
Yes.
Okay, she's the investigator on this case, so if she's had any contact lately.
Yes.
Okay, we're trying to determine if anybody's had any recent contact with Ms. Davidson. Have you?
I have not, and to my knowledge, no one else has. We checked in on it yesterday.
All right. I mean, have anybody had enough contact with her to even notify her about the setting today, or?
I know that the
Your Honor.
FBSS. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Hodge.
I know that the FBSS worker has been in contact via text so far, but so she knew of the court. But then when she sent the link to today, then her phone was not working correctly, so there's no way to tell if she actually got the link.
Okay. Ms. Ricks, do you have any idea about that?
I do not, unfortunately. I've sent her the links at both of the numbers that I have for her to try to, make sure that she was aware.
Ms. Riggs, did you get any response back on from
No,
any of those texts?
No, sir, I did not. I tried calling both numbers, left a voicemail on one. The other one, the voicemail is full. And then I sent messages to both phone numbers as well.
All right. I think we ought to reset since we don't have service. So, and we've obviously she's not had the opportunity to talk to her attorney or her guardian. Okay. All right. I think we should do that. So let's just we'll keep trying to get her served to make contact with her. For department representatives, if you all make contact or get any new contact information, if you would please forward that to Ms. Sapien and to Ms. Lucero right away.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, y'all.
Cat room or anything?
Does anyone know if Jessica plans to be here today?
I do not know about it.
I figured you didn't know, Daniel.
Ms. Hodge, have you had any more contact with her at any point?
Lois was the last one to try to have contact with her, and she said that she was not responding today.
And Judge, I will say we have still not found her to get her served. My investigator's not been able to find her.
And I think this is, I'm pretty sure we appointed Ms. Sapien just based on the facts in the case. I don't think Mom didn't actually fill out her
Correct, Judge. I think it was
our normal statement of procedures. It was just based on the mental health issues and
yes, my mom's admitted some stuff.
yeah. So Ms. Sapien, have you had any contact?
No, I have not, Your Honor.
In Your Honor, I was appointed as Ms. Davidson's guardian ad litem, I've reached out to her at the numbers given to us, and I haven't had a response either.
So with anybody with the department, has she reached out to check on the child or to get any updates or any information on the child?
Your Honor, I spoke with her on Friday and talked to her about attending court, and she said she would. I told her that as soon as I got the link that I would send it to her. I've done that today. I know that Michelle Silva with St. Francis actually spoke with her in person. I believe that was Friday also. I don't know the contents of their discussion, but I did speak with Michelle and she told me that. I have not been able to reach Jessica today by phone, text, or email. She's not responding to me at this point.
Ms. Riggs, do you know where Ms. Silva was able to talk to her in person? Was it at the office or at her apartment? Where was it?
To my knowledge, it was at Jessica's apartment.
So we know a physical location, we just haven't been able to get her served.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it did. And
I will say that at her eviction hearing on the 2nd, she was evicted, and after today, she will be physically removed from the property.
Well, we're just at a point where we're going to have to move forward on this. I'm looking to see if we've got just even a little bit more time. She has a phone then, and she has an email address
Yes, Your Honor.
and access, obviously, to text messaging.
Yes.
All right. Well, she's been given the link. This is the second setting on this. And I believe she was given that information on the first setting as well.
Correct.
And I assume she's been given the information on how to contact her attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then, Mr. Trout, we're gonna go ahead and move forward so you can call your first witness.
Yes, ma'am. Judge, have we
No,
actually
you
called
haven't
the
called
case
the
in
case
amount?
yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, we're set for our adversary hearing. This is the second setting on this. We are conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming and Ms. Taylor is making our record. We've had some discussion prior to my calling the case about mom's knowledge of the hearing today. She's been given the link. She has access to a telephone, email, text messages. She's been given the information regarding her court-appointed attorney, Ms. Sapien, and her court-appointed guardian ad litem, Ms. Lucero, and has not appeared at the first setting or on this reset. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. So, Mr. Trout, you can call your first witness.
Yes, ma'am. I call Mercedes Hodge, Your Honor. And how are you familiar with that case?
I was an investigator sent out on March 16th when it was called in.
How did the department become involved in this case?
The police officers reached out to the department due to concerns for a 6-month-old.
Okay. And did the department have any involvement with this family before that call out?
Yes.
Okay. And in which way was that?
There was already an investigation going on.
Okay. Were you involved with that investigation at all?
No.
What was the intake called in for?
The one on the 16th?
Yes, ma'am.
That one was called in due to Miss Davidson having a mental health issue going on that made her go to the hospital, and there was no one to care for the 6-month-old.
Okay. Were you able to meet with the mother?
Yes.
And did you have a discussion with the mother about what was going on?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She kept telling me that she was struggling with her with physical issues and being in pain, as well as mental health issues, which was preventing her and making it hard for her to care for Joshua.
Okay. Did she state any specific diagnosis or issue she was having?
She did say she had a TBI, which I think is a traumatic brain injury. She talked about her ears having pain to where his cries would cause her to, have pain in her ears. And then she talked about bleeding for a couple months.
Okay. Did mom state at any time that she didn't believe she should have Joshua?
Yes, she did.
Did she state that she can't maintain her own health
Yes, she did.
and that she can't take care of Joshua?
Correct.
Was mom admitted into the hospital at that time?
No, she was not.
Since that day, have you had any contact with mom?
No, I have not.
Have you attempted to reach out to her to try to get in touch with her throughout this investigation?
Yes.
But you just were never able to make any more contact?
Right. And I did go in person, phone calls, everything. And then I was told by Lois, the FBSS worker, that she had made contact, and I was told, or she was told, that mom did not want to have contact with me.
Okay. Did they state why she didn't want to have contact with you, or just didn't want to?
As far as I know, she just didn't want to. She wasn't interested. She wanted to speak to her attorneys first.
Okay. Did mom tell you who dad was?
She mentioned the name Henry Royce, but she didn't have any information for him, any other information for him.
Where did she state he lives?
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
So out of state.
Mm-hmm.
But she had no phone number, no address, no any other type of contact information other than a name?
Right. And she said she had not been in contact with him since Joshua's birth.
Did she state whether he was aware of the child or not?
Yes, she said he was aware that she was pregnant, but after not that, where she was or that the child was born.
Did she state why she believes, he is the father?
That's who she was with at the time she found out she was pregnant.
She was in Santa Fe before she came to Amarillo.
Correct.
Do you believe at the time it was in the best interest of the child to remove the child due to mom being in a hospital, nobody to be able to take care of them, and no contact information for the father?
Yes.
Where is mom from?
I believe Michigan.
Does she have any other CPS cases or prior CPS history?
Yes, in Michigan. Yes.
Is it Michigan or Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Okay. And you were able to talk to people up there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know?
I talked to her family members there.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I talked to her family members there.
So she does have family that's aware of this case?
Yes.
Okay. Does she have custody of any of her children in that area?
No.
Do we know, are they just placed with family, or are they in foster care, or her rights been terminated? Do we know the answers to those?
Her rights have been terminated to all of those children, and they are with different family members.
Okay. Do we know how many children she has?
Joshua, according to her mother, Joshua would be her 7th child.
And so you're saying she does not have custody rights to any of the 6 previous children?
Correct.
Did it appear from what you found out through your investigation that mom has been dealing with some mental health issues even while she was in Minnesota?
Yes, there is currently a warrant, a mental health warrant out for her at this time out of that state.
Out of that state. Do we know how long that warrant's been out? I mean, has it just been in the last 6 months or last year or so? Do we know?
I do not know.
But you did talk to somebody that it is an active warrant right now.
Yes.
Do you believe it was in the best interest of the child to remove? Ms. Hodge?
Sorry. Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. You do believe it was in the best interest of the child to remove?
Yes.
After removal, were visitations set up for mom?
Yes, I was
Go ahead.
informed of one visit.
Okay. And mom did make that visit?
Yes.
And so mom is completely aware of the case and the removal.
Yes.
Was drug screens performed on the child?
Yes, there was a hair follicle drug screen completed.
And what were the results of that? Have you got those back?
Yes, Joshua was positive for meth.
Ms. Hodge, can
you
hear me?
repeat that, please?
Yes, ma'am. How old? You said Joshua is 6 months old, is that correct?
Yes.
And he was positive for methamphetamines?
Yes.
Does that go to the further conclusion that it was in the best interest of the child to remove?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Sapien,
No questions, Judge.
Ms. Lucero.
Just a couple, Your Honor. Ms. Hodge, whenever you spoke with Jessica about the removal and what was going on in her life, was she coherent, do you believe? Was she able to communicate with you? Was she understanding what you were telling her? In your opinion?
Yes, we had a conversation back and forth. I will say towards the end of the conversation, she did say that she, her pain was increasing. And so 3 times I did ask her if she wanted me to leave. And she refused. She wanted to continue the conversation. And then by the 3rd time I went ahead and decided to leave.
Okay. And then you stated that she was admitted to the hospital. Is that correct?
She was in the emergency room and she was not admitted.
She was not admitted. She just went to the ER. Okay. And do you know, was she going to the emergency room due to pain she was experiencing or mental health issues, or do you know?
Yeah, she was in pain and she, according to the officer, she told them that she just could not cope.
And this mental health warrant that's out of Minnesota, do you know what that is? That just a warrant for her to be placed into some type of treatment facility, or do you know?
The only clarification that I got on that was that they believe that she's a danger to herself and others, and so I didn't get any more information than that.
Right. I'll pass the witness.
All right, and Ms. Zabala.
Ms. Hodge, when you were speaking with Mother, was she able to identify anyone here locally that could either assist her or could take the child?
The only person that she mentioned was a neighbor, but the neighbor had told me that she was not interested in that.
Okay. So there was no way in this case to set up some sort of safety plan or somebody to help supervise. There wasn't anybody available.
Correct.
When the child was removed, was the condition of the home also a concern?
Yes, when I had got there after the child had been with the neighbor, but the officers before had said that the child did have feces on him. And when I went into the home, there was feces, animal feces on the floor. It was very cluttered, hard to walk through and get around.
And so for a crawling 6-month-old, not a safe situation.
Correct.
last witness.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further from this witness?
Just one quick question. Ms. Hodge, did mom ever drug screen for you?
No, the only drug screen that I had was the one that was performed with her being taken to the emergency room.
So did mom ever admit or deny any drug use to you?
To other people, but not to me directly.
Okay. And other people, hospital staff, are we talking officers who?
Yes, to the hospital staff, she admitted meth use, and then to the officer, she admitted marijuana use.
I'll pass it, Michelle.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Ms. Hodge?
No, Your Honor.
No.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Trout, any further witnesses today?
Yes, ma'am. We'd call Lois Ricks, Your Honor. And how are you familiar with the case?
I was the family-based worker for the family since early October.
And this is the prior investigation that was called in?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have a good relationship with the mother, Jessica?
I felt like I did.
Okay. Since we have been in our current case, in the removal case, and I know we talked about this a little earlier, but we weren't on the record when we did. Have you been able to make contact with mother since we've been in the removal case?
Yes, I've had several phone conversations with her, and she had been responding to text messages from time to time.
Okay. And when was your last conversation or contact with mom?
It would have been Friday. I believe that would be the 5th.
Okay. And were you able to let mom and the mother know about the hearing today?
Yes, I've spoke with her that day as well as previous days when I was able to reach her. I sent her a text message and an email with the link to today's hearing and reminded her again just before court.
Okay.
Can y'all hold on? We've lost Ms. Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I've gotten a message. She's lost power. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording to the Zoom cloud. We'll see if she gets back on or not, but we can go ahead. Can we maybe back up just a couple of questions?
Yes, ma'am.
If we can just cover a little, I know it's covering the same ground, but I'm not sure exactly where we lost her. So
Yes, ma'am. If I can remember a couple of questions back. Ms. Ricks, you said you had been able to contact mom during the removal case, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And your last contact was on April 5th, Friday?
correct.
And since then, have you been able to send her the links for today's hearing?
Yes. I received it this morning, so I sent it to her both via text message as well as via email.
Okay. And this is our second setting on this, is that correct?
Yes.
Were y'all able to send the links to her for the first hearing also?
Yes, we did. I believe several people actually did at that time. I don't know who all sent them this time.
And mom didn't appear at the first setting either, did she?
Correct.
But through your efforts and efforts of some other people, mom was made aware of the hearings today.
Correct.
Has mom responded to you since you sent those today?
No, I haven't gotten any messages from her since then.
Okay. But mom is aware that there is a removal case
Yes.
and that there are hearings being held.
Correct.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
okay, Ms. Sapien, any questions?
Just a couple, Judge. Ms. Briggs, do you know if Jessica received my contact information?
Yes, I provided her with your contact information myself.
Okay. And was she also provided with Miss Lucero's contact information?
Yes, I provided her with her contact information also.
Did you do that once or more than once?
Multiple times. I wrote your number down on a business card. I also texted her both of y'all's information a couple of different times.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, and Ms. Lucero,
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Sabala?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Trott, anything further for Ms. Ricks?
Nothing further from Ms. Reed, Your Honor.
All right.
And no further
Okay.
witness.
All right. Department rest.
Department rest.
All right, Ms. Sapien, any witnesses to present today?
No witnesses, Your Honor. I'll rest.
And Ms. Lucero, anything else today?
Your Honor, I don't have any witnesses, but there's a couple of things I'd like to say to the court, if that's okay at this time.
Sure.
I know that the likelihood is high that the department will be named temporary managing conservator of the child. There's been testimony and in the reports that Ms. Davidson, suffers from mental health issues. And so I would just ask that, I know that as they move forward, they're going to put together a family service plan, but I would ask that, I know sometimes we're trying to get the, folks in there to start working their services and things like that, but I would just ask that it, a priority be made just to get her the mental health that she needs first. And that be the priority and she not be overwhelmed with all these other services, Your Honor. So that's what I would ask.
All right. Ms. Zavala, anything to present today or just a recommendation?
I rest. But it is my recommendation that the child remain in the temporary managing conservatorship of the department. He's doing well in placement. I think there are some leads on some potential ICPC placements that I think are being addressed. But I do believe it's in his best interest to remain in the temporary managing conservatorship.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Zavala. Okay, I will find the evidence is sufficient to name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the temporary managing conservator of the child. I will find that there would be a continuing and ongoing danger to the child to return the child home to the mother today. We have, of course, very little information about the father at this point in time and wouldn't even know where to place the child with him. I would expect, of course, the department to use reasonable efforts to reunify the family. And I agree with Ms. Lucero that obviously the first place we need to really start with mom is mental health, but that may also include a component of, drug treatment. Very concerned that the child tested positive for methamphetamine and apparently had been basically in the care of Ms. Davidson, that as far as we know. So I just urge everybody to keep reaching out to her and let's see if we can't get her started with, services focused on those things, at least at this point in time. She's obviously, as of today, got a housing situation. Maybe she's already remedied that. I don't know, but, very concerned that she might be homeless as well at this point in time. That's obviously not going to help anything or improve anything. I guess I suggest that St. Francis start looking for her maybe at one of the shelters in town if we don't get a response from her fairly soon. So I'll see everybody back for the status hearing May 14th, 2024. That'll be on a 9:00 docket. And I appreciate everybody's efforts.
Thank you, Judge.
I know these are hard.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank y'all so much. Everybody have a good rest of your afternoon and probably won't see any of you guys tomorrow, but So y'all have a nice day tomorrow. I'll see you Thursday. Unless anybody wants to go out to Farwell with me tomorrow. So,
I'll see you tomorrow, Judge.
oh yeah, you will. That's right.
You have a good one.
All right. Thank y'all. We're here today on a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right. We'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Michelle Silva is my pregnancy specialist. We're present ready.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Jessica Davidson. I have not had any contact with my client, Your Honor, but I am present and ready to proceed.
Lauren Lucero, guardian ad litem for Ms. Davidson, Your Honor. I'm present, ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Joshua.
Okay. Ms. Sapien, you sound like you're under the weather. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. What do we have new since court report's filed?
Nothing new. I did text mom yesterday and she did respond. I asked if just checking on you, please call me back. And she said, I will when I get time. She asked how Joshua was. I sent her pictures. I let her know he's doing great. I sent her more and she didn't respond after that. I went to Faith City Shelter, the Salvation Army, and I cruised around Guyon Saunders and didn't see her. I called Guyon Saunders. She hadn't been there in more than 6 months. I asked her where she was and if she's okay and please to call me, and she hasn't. So that is it.
All right.
Service plans were generated and filed, Your Honor.
Okay, but I assume you haven't had sufficient contact with mom to go over it with her.
No.
Any update on Mr. Royce?
No, I haven't been able to find him, get a hold of him. I did a finders. There's no information for him.
All right, then, Ms. Sapien.
I don't have anything to report, Your Honor. I will continue trying to get a hold of Jessica.
Okay, you've got contact information for her?
I do. I've been provided multiple numbers by the department.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor, I have not had contact with Ms. Davidson. I just sent an email, message to Ms. Silva from any updated phone number, and I believe she just sent that to me and to Ms. Sapien. So I'll keep trying.
Okay. Okay, then Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Joshua's doing really well in placement. I did want just a little clarification from Michelle. I know that maybe there's some visitation going on with a grandmother. I had thought that I remembered that maternal grandmother may have some other kids, but I thought I had down that she did not believe she could be placement, but I just wanted to confirm that.
Yes. So I had set up a visit with maternal grandma in Minnesota. She has 2 siblings of Joshua's. This last 2 weekends ago, she gets all his siblings for the weekend. So the visit was canceled because she had something come up. But yeah, she doesn't want to be placement.
Okay. And without saying any names, are there any home studies pending on any other family members?
No.
Okay. I had thought there might be someone that was interested, but I think there were some privacy issues. So I'll email you on that and see if we can determine if that might be a possibility for him.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add today?
Nothing further at this time, Your
All right, then, I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator and find there's a continuing danger to return the child home at this time. I'll continue the child's current placement. Order the service plans is in order of the court, and I'll see everybody back for our initial permanency hearing on September 3rd of 2024. And that'll be a 9 o'clock docket. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties, and we are also live streaming. Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present ready. Aaron.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Ashley Singster, and I'm present and ready.
Judge Vince Nowak on behalf of the father, Cameron Shelton. We're both present and ready.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Jediah.
All right, then, Mr. Trout, how many witnesses do you have today?
Your Honor, per emails earlier this week or end of last week with Mr. Nowak and Ms. Archer, I believe parents have kind of made an agreement about what they were looking at on custody and the way that they wanted to work that out. I don't know all the details on that, so I would defer to Mr. Nowak and Ms. Archer to present that. I think there was one contentious area that they wanted the judge to the court to decide on that as far as pick up and drop off of the child, but I think everything else has been agreed to by them.
That's accurate, Judge. We have what I call a step up to a standard visitation plan. Mom and dad are both in agreement with that. The only issue of contention is the child is in Lubbock or close to Lubbock. Dad is in Amarillo. The only issue, and I think I told Natalie we'd let the judge decide this one because we'd already done the heavy lifting. The only issue is, do they meet halfway? Does dad have to drive all the way? Judge, that's the only issue, is pick up and drop off. I mean, I'd be, with Natalie's permission, I'd be happy to announce the step up plan. Whatever the court wants.
That would be fine. I mean, if you want to, I mean, are they going to be joint managing?
It's JMC.
Okay.
And for the first 2 months of the step up plan, Judge,
Well, hang on.
I'm sorry.
JMC, who establishes primary residence restrictions? I mean, anything like that?
Mom would establish the child's residence. And Natalie, you and I don't believe we talked about geographic restrictions. I would like to, Potter, Randall, and I guess, is it Lubbock County? Is that where Mom lives?
Yes, it's outside Lubbock, in Slayton or Slayton.
Okay.
And Mom
Potter,
should be
Potter,
letting-
Randall, and whatever county Mom lives in right now, I think would be appropriate geographical restrictions. Natalie?
Judge, do you have Mom in the waiting room yet?
No, I don't.
Okay. And I think she would be okay with that. I wish she was on here, but she did agree to the step up plan.
All right, well, let's just hold off on the residence restriction and see if we get her logged in. All right, child support.
Child support is going to be based on, Cameron will be paying Mom child support based on minimum wage plus $25 a month towards the insurance.
Has anybody calculated the figure? I don't know if he's got other kids or.
I know he has at least one other child, and Cameron, chime in if I'm messing this up. I did the calculation assuming one child, Judge, and I know that he's got at least one other child that's before the court, frankly.
Okay.
Not today, but.
If I may speak, I do have another child that I do currently pay child support. As you know, I have Indiana. I pay approximately $329 a month in child support for her, plus her $25 for Medicaid. As far as that goes, with everything going on with me right now, I would probably still be able to pay for Judea. I would only be able to pay like maybe $200, maybe $250 a month, plus her $25 for her Medicaid and stuff like that. And that would just be to keep me with my head above water and not struggling.
Okay, well, I just need somebody to run the calculation on it.
I don't have the calculator in front of me, Judge, but with the court's permission, we can plug that into the final order.
I'm working on it right now, Judge, to plug that in.
So, Mr. Shelton, it's a formula, and we start with based on minimum wage, 40 hours a week, And then we take into account that you are paying support on another child. And so it's a mathematical computation. So we'll let them,
yes, ma'am. I understand.
we'll see what that is, and then we'll go from there. Okay, then Mr. Nowak, then, why don't you go ahead and tell me what your step up visitation plan is?
Yes, Judge. For the first 2 months, Cameron would have his 2-hour visits on Thursdays, plus the first weekend of the month, starting at 6 p.m. Friday to 6 p.m. Sunday. Assuming everything goes well, the second 2 months would be the Thursday visits, plus the first and third weekends of the month, 6 p.m. Friday to 6 p.m. Sunday. Assuming everything goes well with that, following that, it would just go to standard visitation. For the summer of 2024, Cameron would have 2 weeks with the child. Summer of 2025 and beyond would be standard summer possession. As far as holidays go, we just deal with them the way we do with all the SEPSers. And Natalie, correct me if I missed anything, please.
No, that's correct. That's what we discussed, and that's why I relate to my client. She is having trouble downloading Zoom, so I'm going to ask her to just call in.
Okay.
And Judge, based on minimum wage at 40 hours a week, with another child outside this action, it comes out about, and the $25 medical, $198.
$198 child support
Yes, ma'am.
plus the 25 for medical.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That's
so Mr. Stallman, that's about right in the range that you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So is she within Lubbock County, or is she actually, if she's in Post or?
Slayton or Slayton?
Ashley lives in Slayton. I believe that's still Lubbock County.
It is, Judge. I just looked it up. Slayton is in Lubbock.
I mean, the whole concept of a residence restriction is that you don't end up further apart. Potentially you could end up, I mean, if we said residents would be restricted to Potter County, Lubbock County, in those counties in between. But, you know, sort of where do you draw that line? I mean, you could say Potter, Randall, Swisher, Hale, and Lubbock counties. That's straight down I-27 corridor. Whether you want to get a little east or west of that, you know. I mean, so, you know, it's just, what do you want to encompass? You could do, you know, we can say within a certain, you know, mileage radius.
And Judge, whatever the parents want to agree to, I just looked it up. From
South down, you know, Lubbock County line. I mean,
Judge, just looking it up, it's from Amarillo to Slayton's 129 miles. I know a lot of restrictions sometimes are out no further outside 150 miles or something like that. So whatever Natalie and Vince think on that.
But you know, it would be 100 if you said 150 mile radius of 150 mile radius of what?
Yeah, true.
Do you drop a pin right in the middle of those and say Plainview? You know, I mean, it's 100. What'd you say? 129?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 130 miles. So what, Plainview from Amarillo to Plainview is what is it, about 65, 70, something like 60, 65 miles?
Yes, ma'am, I believe so.
There's more there than about anywhere else in between as far as places to meet. You know, convenience stores, fast food places, you know, Walmart, whatever. I mean, there's just more places that are a meeting point there than say in New Deal or Abernathy, or, so
76 miles to Plainview.
Crest is a great little town. Yeah. I know the people that own the general store. I could make you meet there. No, I'm just saying there's just Plainview seems to me to be sort of illogical. Right. The case originated in the child was in Amarillo at the time that we got involved, and mother is relocated to Lubbock. I think it's patently fair that the parents share the travel.
Your Honor, can I say one thing about that? For my client? Her problem with meeting is that she has the other 3 kids to tend to and pick up from daycare. And she said between having to pick them up and not wanting to miss it, and then the expense of the travel, that was her problem with it. That's why she was wanting dad to do the driving, because she feels like she's been very generous in everything else she's agreed to.
Well, I mean, they could either meet halfway, or dad can go all the way to Slayton to pick the kids up at the beginning of visitation. She can come up here to pick them up at the end. You know, the travel's the same for the kids, but, you know, I'm sorry. I don't think it's fair to put all of that off on dad. You know, dad's going to be paying child support. So, I mean, I will let you all discuss it for a few minutes if you want with your clients, but I'm going to make them, you know, bear some responsibility for this. So,
Judge, we've had those conversations, and I applaud Natalie and her client for working hard and getting to where we are, but we just have not come to agreement on the pickup drop off, and that's why I kind of facetiously said we'd put it on your shoulders. But I'm not being facetious about it. I mean, this is a decision the court's going to have to make.
Mr. Nowak, check the chats. Your client just sent something in the chat.
And he sent that to everybody, so I've already seen it. But Mr. Shelton, are you saying you're willing to go all the way to I mean, you're willing to go to Lubbock again?
I'm willing to go all the way to Slayton if need be. If she can't meet me in Lubbock, at least with that being 15 minutes away, I'm willing to go all the way to Slayton due to the fact that she has communicated with me that she just was in a car accident and she does not have a vehicle.
Well, I guess that's the question. Can she meet you? Can she even meet you in Lubbock?
Prior our last visit, she told me that she was staying with somebody in Lubbock. So I do believe at this point in time, she's currently in Lubbock right now. So that shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, that was my last visit. Whenever I seen my daughter, that she communicated she was in Lubbock, so it wasn't a problem for her to bring Jadad to Lubbock for the visit. But like I said, shortly after that visit, she called me and told me that she was in a car accident and no longer had a vehicle.
Ms. Archer, are you aware of that?
No, I did not know that she had an accident. Is that her on the line? Is that?
Yeah, I think so. So here's what I'd like to do is, unless you have some strong objection, Ms. Archer, Mr. Nowak, I'd like to put you and your clients just in a breakout room and let the 4 of you discuss this and see, you know, if there could be some, you know, maybe intermediate arrangement made where Mr. Shelton is doing the travel, but I mean, I'll tell you, I feel like at some point once she has a vehicle or whatever, that there needs to be some reasonable participation in this transportation. So
that'd be great, Judge. And you know what? Because the first 2 months are only 1 week in a month, maybe that, and we'll talk about this in the breakout room. Maybe my guy can do the driving for the first 2 months, and then at that point, hopefully, mom will have a vehicle. But I think breakout room sounds good, Judge.
Are you all comfortable going into a breakout room together?
Say it again.
Are you comfortable going into a breakout room with your clients together?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to put you guys in to.
Judge, can I speak before their clients go in? Can I speak to Mr. Nowak and Ms. Archer real quick? I got like 2 questions.
Hang on. All right. I'll have to start. All right, we've got her back. Okay.
Judge, I believe we have an agreement. Everything we discussed earlier is still our agreement, with the exception of, for the first 2 months, Dad will do all the traveling to pick up and drop off the child. After that, it'll be whatever you decide. But I think what I heard earlier, Judge, is, you know, they're going to meet in Plainview. or they'll meet halfway.
And I'll give them their option if they can either meet halfway, like, and when I think Plainview is the logical place, but, or if he wants to go all the way to Slayton to get him at the beginning of visits and mom picks him up at the end, if that helps her with the other kids, you know, I mean, I'll give him an either or.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I want to do an either or, and plus in a lot of the other civil cases that I do, I always put in there, unless the parents agree otherwise, on the pickup issue. If they can reach an agreement, if she's having a bad week or he's having a bad week, travel wise, whatever, they can communicate, which apparently they're doing now. But I think, you know, set it in stone. First 2 months, he does all the driving. After that, they meet halfway, or they go all the way one way, all the way the other way, or by agreement.
All right, so let's just say after the first 2 months that they will meet in Plainview, and they're both going to be on I-27, obviously. So there's a McDonald's right there. There's several fast food places. That McDonald's may have a play, an indoor playground thing, I think. They're open almost all year round.
May I say something?
Yeah.
If it's okay with Ashley, I don't know if she remembers, but there was a convenience store when we had first traveled to Slayton to visit her mom, that we had stopped at for gas. If we could meet there to help the both of us out as far as expenses, that way it'll be cheaper on her pockets as well as mine. It's a little bit farther for me, but it's closer to her. That way she ain't got to really worry about if she's going to be able to make it back in time to get the other kids from school and daycare.
Where is this located? Is it in Plainview?
It's in Plainview. I want to say it's right off of I-27. I believe it's like all subs. Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong. You more familiar with that area.
I don't know what store.
There's a brand new Toot and Totem that just opened up in Plainview they can meet at. It's right there on I-27 across from Walmart.
Okay. Will that work, for y'all at the Toot and Totem?
Ashley, is that okay with you? I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. And it will say, that will be the default. So is Ms. Brown, is that right on I-27?
Yes, ma'am.
Hang on. Before we move on, hang on just a minute with that thought. Ms. Brown, can you tell from looking that up what exit that is, or what an actual address is for that Toot and Totem? Because there's more than one Toot and Totem in Plainview. Miss Sanders, it's really hard for the court reporter, so if you'll just keep your device muted for the time being. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Okay, Mr. Trout, if you want to go ahead and.
Yes, ma'am. I discussed a couple of issues with Mr. Nowak and Ms. Archer. I just seen if Mr. Nowak had gotten answers on that other issue.
Yeah, on the traffic violations, there's a payment plan worked out. He has a registered vehicle and he has a current valid driver's license. But on that recent issue, he's made a payment plan. He's making payments.
Okay, all right. So, but the car did get registered now.
Car's registered, correct, Cameron?
On my behalf, the vehicle from the traffic incident where I was just incarcerated for the day was from last year in 23. It was a different vehicle. The vehicle I currently drive is registered, insured, and I do have a valid license.
Excellent. Thank you.
And Ms. Archer, on the issue we talked about?
Yes, there are 3 kids with her now. One kid is with grandma finishing school.
Okay.
They're currently at the Salvation Army, and the Salvation Army is supposed to be helping them find housing.
Okay. Judge, we discussed that when Mr. Sheldon said earlier that she was staying in Lubbock. We were unaware of that. So that's what I was asking Ms. Archer about. I'm sorry. What we were talking about earlier, Mr. Sheldon had said when he talked to mom, that she had said something about staying with a friend in Lubbock. We were unaware of that. And so that's what we were checking on to see where she was staying. But evidently it sounds like she's at the Salvation Army in Lubbock now, trying to find other housing, which is news to us.
Hey, Miss Taylor's not hearing you.
Not hearing me at all?
No, just when you trail off.
Don't answer it.
Sorry, I didn't know I was straight off. I was talking loud. Earlier, Mr. Shelton said when he spoke on one of his last visits, he had spoken with mom, and mom said she was staying with somebody in Lubbock. We were unaware of that, so that's what I was asking Miss Archer about, to find out exactly where mom was staying, because we thought she was still staying in Slayton with grandmother. But it sounds like she's at Salvation Army in Lubbock and is currently looking for other housing.
And I just found that out in the breakout room.
All right. Council, I want to have a bench conference.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if we can get everybody back on. So just make sure.
Cameron, you there, man? Cameron.
I'm here. I'm just using the restroom. That's why I'm muted with my camera off.
All right. Stay muted then.
All right, so in light of mom's housing situation, I cannot accept and enter this final order today. I'm good with moving forward with Mr. Shelton's step-up visitation, because this hiccup is not of his doing. So I'm going to honor that, and we're going to go ahead and move forward with the step-up visitation as was announced. But the department is going to remain the temporary managing conservator of the child. The parents will still be subject to all the same things that they have been while this case has been pending. The dismissal date isn't until October 28th, so we've got a little extra time. I want to set this again in like 30 days. Ms. Katie, if you can start looking for a day to review and see if Ms. Sangster has resolved her housing situation. And Ms. Sangster, you know, the faster you acquire some sort of housing for you and the children, the better. And obviously keep in touch with Ms. Archer about that. And obviously with Ms. Brown. But I am not comfortable finalizing this with you and the children being at the Salvation Army. That's just not a permanent arrangement, and I just can't do that today. So we're gonna all stay involved just as we have been until we hopefully get this little problem handled. So Ms. Sangster, I've had you muted because of the kids in the background. So can you unmute now?
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You understand what my concern is and what you need to do?
Yes, but I came up here because they help pay for like my rental history. That's the reason why I can't get my own place. And I can't afford to take like $2,000 or some dollars to pay my rental history. They'll pay for it and then they'll place me in my own home.
Okay. So, you know, this just got sprung on us, Ms. Sangster. I mean, your attorney didn't really know about this. I mean, this was just dropped on us, you know, like a bombshell. So you need to actively discuss that with your attorney, with Ms. Brown. What is the plan moving forward? When will you be able to get some sort of alternative housing? You know, I mean, sitting here today, I don't know the answer to any of those things. And so we just, you know, I'm working with a void of information. So I'm going to reset the case. We'll be resetting the final. We'll be resuming it because we've called the case. We've started it. Ms. Katie has given us a date. Let's see, April 23rd at 9 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Either's fine with me, Judge.
I can do it.
I can do either.
Can do either.
Let's just set it on the 9 o'clock docket somewhere then, Miss Katie. And then we'll see where we're at, you know, and then we can either then, if you've got something arranged, then we can move forward with the agreement and put all this to rest. If we need more time, we've still got time. Okay.
I have a question about visits, Your Honor.
Yes.
Are we doing weekend? But currently, Cameron is getting visits on Thursdays with his other child in Judea. Are we still doing the Thursday visits, or is it going to the weekend visit?
The agreement was for the next 2 months.
2 months. It would be both. It would be Thursdays plus the first weekend of the month.
So the answer is, Ms. Brown, yes, we're moving forward with that but for this issue with mom's housing, that's what he was going to start doing. And this is, like I said, this is not of his doing. So I'm not going to, penalize him at this time. So for this child, that's what it will be.
Okay.
No, it's a little unusual, but this is the whole thing's kind of unusual. So.
Your Honor, we have a visit already set up today with Dad in Judea. We have transport arranged for the child, but we need to know an address where our transporters will go pick up the child today, because that visit is already set up.
Okay. So, Ms. Sangster, do you have the address?
And Judge, as far as being able to see mom and children, could we just emphasize with mom that if Ms. Zavala and our worker, Ms. Brown, make visits with her, she has to attend those visits? We've had trouble getting in touch with her when we get down there.
Absolutely, Ms. Sangster. There's a couple of things I've heard today I've got real concerns about. You missed a meeting with Ms. Zavala, that she had confirmed with you. She drove all the way there. These folks are busy and they don't have time to be driving 2 hours for no reason. So you've got to exercise, number one, common courtesy. Number two, diligence. If they're traveling to meet with you, you better be there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that's I want to hear a yes ma'am, I'll be there. You understand me? Sangster, I'm waiting for an answer.
Yes.
Okay. I'm also going to order you to go drug screen today.
Leave that water alone.
Ms. Brown, I want you to make arrangements for her to drug test today in Lubbock. When was her last drug screen?
Yes, ma'am.
When was her last drug screen?
About 2 weeks ago. I have not gotten back the hair follicle on her, but her UA came back negative.
Okay, I just want a UA today.
Okay.
Okay, so Ms. Sangster, you need to go drug screen today. You need to talk with Ms. Brown about that at the conclusion of this hearing.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see everybody back April 23rd. 24, we recessed at that time, essentially on the court's motion so that we could get some other details worked out in the case. So I know what has essentially been presented as an agreement, and I know we also had some discussion about some of the travel for visitation and where to meet and all of that. So I think all of that was resolved with the exception of Ms. Archer's client, Ms. Sangster's housing situation. So anyway, we'll go ahead and take announcements since we're here on a different day, and then we'll see where we're at.
Daniel Trout for Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Ashley Sangster, and we're both present and ready.
Vince Noack for the dad, Cameron Shelton, present, ready, Judge.
Stacy Zavala for the child.
Okay. All right, then who wants to tell me where we're at?
Judge, also at the last hearing, the court had ordered mom also to go drug screen due to her change in living situations and where she was. Those screens did come back. They did come back negative. And it is my understanding, I'll let Ms. Brown state on this, but it's my understanding mom has since left Salvation Army is back at grandmother's house where she was before she went there. That is my understanding. I'm not exactly sure when that happened, but that was the correspondence I got, I believe last week.
Yes, she did go back home to Slayton with her mother.
Okay, we never really knew why that had happened, but I just made the assumption that had some disagreement or falling out. But is St. Francis, Miss Brown, satisfied that that's a stable situation?
Yes, ma'am. Ashley's intention in going to the Salvation Army, she thought they had a program that would help her pay her previous landlord so that she could get a home of her own. I did talk to the caseworker at Salvation Army. That was not the case. And so Ashley returned home to her mom's house.
Okay. All right. Any further updates?
No, I made a second trip out to Slayton last week to double check and verify everything that Ashley was reporting. I talked to the daycare that Judea attends. They had no strong concerns about Ashley or Judea. I saw Judea. She looked good. I saw Ashley. She looked good.
Okay. All right, then let me just ask this. Does anybody else need to put on any additional testimony?
I don't know that we need testimony, but I think the other remaining issue was pick up and drop off of the child. And I believe that Ms. Archer and I have come to an agreement, that the parties have come to an agreement through us, that would happen in Plainview. Natalie, please correct me if I'm wrong.
That is true. Currently, my client still does not have a working vehicle. So if dad is willing to drive until she can get one, then my client is happy to meet him at the agreed spot for the switch.
I guess my only concern with that would be
it's open-ended.
It's a final order.
Yeah. So, okay. Here's where I thought we were at. What I had was that, I mean, in addition to joint managing, mom establishes residence, child support $198, medical $25, the step-up visitation plan to standard possession. What I had is that Mr. Shelton was going to do all the traveling for the first 2 months to give mom the chance to get her vehicle up and going. And that after that, then they would meet in Plainview. I thought we had talked about the Toot and Totem that was at 808 I-27 in Plainview for the exchange of the children.
Cameron, are you good with that first 2 months doing all the driving?
It was my understanding that that's what we agreed to anyway.
My memory's bad. Thanks, Cameron. Thank you, Judge.
And Ashley,
yeah. So Ms. Archer, Ms. Sangster, I mean, there needs to be a limit on that somewhere.
Ashley, can you either get transportation in 2 months or have someone transport you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because there'll be a court order, so you will have to do that. If you cannot drive, you'll have to get transportation.
Yes,
yourself.
ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Zavala, any concerns?
No, Your Honor, I was not able to make a second trip out to Slayton, but I am relying on Ms. Brown's evaluation. I've got no reason to doubt what she saw when she got there. So I do believe that this agreement would be in her best interest.
All right. The other thing I think that I raised that day was there any kind of residence restriction?
There was, Your Honor. We talked Potter Randall, Lubbock County residence restrictions. Is what my notes state.
Potter Randall in Lubbock?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Archer, is she in Lubbock County?
Is Slayton in Lubbock County?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have no intention of moving. This would prevent you from moving with the child out of that area.
No, I don't plan on moving. If I do move, it'll be to Lubbock, Texas, which would be like 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes away from Slayton.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, and then let's see. Y'all refresh my memory. Was child support ongoing already?
No, ma'am, there are no priorities.
Okay, all right.
And that was gonna be my next question, Judge. Do we want to start this on, since it's the end of April, start it on June 1st? Go ahead and start it on May.
Now, I'm gonna say this, I mean, because the children are in the home with mother, I'm gonna say May 1st.
Okay.
Making payments on the 1st is going to be a problem for me, seeing as how with this job that I just now started, I don't get paid until the 25th and the 10th of each month.
Will you get paid April 25th?
I believe actually April 25th is my very first check, and it's not going to be that much. I got to pay my card note and I got to pay some court fees. So I'm not going to have anything.
Okay, then after that, how often are you paid?
The
Every week?
25th and the 10th, every 2 weeks.
Okay, there's a little bit of a difference. Just twice a month or every 2 weeks?
It's set to be twice a month, but the way that it falls, it's every 2 weeks.
Well, when you're paid every 2 weeks, sometimes you get a third paycheck in the month. That's why I'm asking.
I know for sure that by policy that the way the job is telling me it's the 25th and the 10th for sure when I'll have a paycheck.
So what would happen is if my order says it's child support starts May 1st, then they would withhold the first installment of that until your May 10th check. It would come out of your second check, and then again, part of it would come out again on the 25th of May. So let's kick this back to Ms. Sangster. Can you go until June without child support?
Yes, ma'am. Because child support is not something that I really would depend on anyway.
Okay. And in fairness, he's going to be doing all the driving for the first 2 months. So, all right. So let's get a start date, we'll say of June 1st.
Ma'am.
So today is the 23rd. Let's see. When will his first visit occur per your all's agreement?
Judge, I think at the last hearing, we ordered his visits, his step up to go ahead and start. So I believe he's been having the visits already. So that's
I have my second visit is scheduled for the first weekend of May. So that'll be Friday the 3rd around 6 that I go to pick Judea up.
So when was your first visit?
That would have been the first weekend of this month. I can't recall an exact date.
Y'all help me, are these tied to first and thirds?
It's a step up plan, so he's only doing the first weekend of the month for right now.
Okay. All right, so he's done one of those in the month of April.
And he had a Thursday visit with the sibling as well. He canceled his last visit, and so next week would be his next visit.
Well, I want to be able to be specific about when their obligation to start meeting for exchange is going to begin. So he's already, he started that, but if we're going to say for 2 months, so all right, so he's supposed to be doing visits on the first weekend of the month. So
correct, for the first 2 months, yes, Your Honor.
So he's going to visit the weekend of May 3rd?
Correct.
All right. And then he's going to visit June, sometime that weekend of the 7th?
Correct.
And then when does it go to more than once a month?
So 2 months of the first weekend of the month, and then so after we get 2 months under our belt, and that June 3rd should be the June date that you mentioned, Judge, should end that first step.
Okay. So we would be safe to say that after
And after that, he gets first and third weekends for 2 months.
So beginning June 21st, they would be meeting in Plainview. Because the 21st would be the third Friday of June. I mean, is the order tied to first, third Fridays?
First and third weekends for the second 2 months. And I got kicked out for a minute, so I missed a little bit about what you said, but essentially it's 2 months of the first weekend, then followed by 2 months of first and third weekend. Following that, it goes as standard.
Yeah.
The only exception is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, but as we all know, that's very confusing to parents when you just refer to it as first and third weekends. It's either the first and third, Friday, or if his visits aren't on till Saturday, then it's the first, it's the Saturday following the first or third Friday. So what I'm trying to do is put a date in there specific that at a certain date, then the parents will start to meet in Plainview. So by what you all are telling me, then June 21st is when they would start to meet in Plainview. If he's going to pick up on Friday.
Gotcha.
If he doesn't pick up till Saturday, I just don't remember what the specifics of the visitation were at that point.
It's a 6 Friday to 6 Sunday. For all of the stuff.
All right, then I think we need to say then beginning June 21st, or I don't care how you phrase it, but we'll say father will do all travel for visitation until June 21st. Then they meet. Sorry, I'm not trying to be hyper technical, y'all, but this is the kind of stuff that then everybody's lawyers getting phone calls about. He wasn't here, or she wasn't there, or y'all know the drill. Well, maybe Mr. Trout doesn't know that drill, but
I know about it. I just never had to deal with it too much.
okay. Well, it's a drill. Let me assure you.
Oh, I believe it is.
Okay. All right. Anybody think of any other little minutia that we need to deal with?
Cameron, did I miss anything? We good?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we about covered everything.
Any questions, Ashley?
Sir. Thank you, Judge.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
And Judge, the only thing I would ask either Mr. Archer or Mr. Nowak, if they will type up their agreement as far as the visitations and how that's all going to work and send it to me, I'll get it put in the order. But I'd like, since y'all made the agreement, I wasn't a part of that, I would like to have that typed up for me.
We'll draft that section.
Appreciate it.
Okay. If y'all can get that done within, say, 10 days, does that give you enough time to get that done? Okay. All right. Okay, then I will approve the agreement as has been announced and worked out. Name the parents as joint managing conservator. Mother will establish residence restricted to Potter, Randall, and Lubbock counties. Child support of $198 and medical support of $25 to begin on June 1st of 2024. I'll approve the step-up visitation plan that was announced, which progresses father into a standard possession order. He will do all the travel for visitation until June 21st of 2024, and then the parties will meet at the Toot and Totem at 808 I-27 Interstate Highway 27, Plainview, Texas, for all further visitations, unless they agree to something else. Just that standard language, obviously.
It is okay for us to choose like maybe a closer meeting spot, like closer to her, so it'd be more convenient for her. Because like I said, she don't have the vehicle right now. I want to make that easier for her.
You all can always agree to do whatever you can both agree to do. That's not just about the meeting point. That's about anything having to do with visitation, as long as you were both in mutual agreement. And my advice to you is put that in an email to one another or on a text message or something where you both have it in writing and you know for sure, yes, we have an agreement. Okay. All right, then. I will dismiss the department and all court-appointed attorneys at this time. I appreciate everybody's efforts and getting all this resolved. I'm glad that the children are back with parents, and wish both of you the very best of luck. All right. Thank you all very much. You're free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
The department
Thank you.
versus Jada
Thank you, Judge. May I
Sampson.
excuse me?
We are here on a request for court-ordered services. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Todd Albee on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present and ready to proceed, Your Honor. Before eliciting any testimony, I would ask to be allowed to talk with Ms. Kincaid and Ms. Zavala in a breakout room.
All right, Ms. Kincaid, I don't have her on screen, but do we have you're muted?
Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, so if you want to go ahead and announce, we'll take announcements and then I'll put y'all in a breakout room.
Okay, Savannah Kincaid, I represent Ms. Sansom, and we're both present and ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Zavala, you can go back to room 1. I will move Mr. Albee there. All right, then, Mr. Albee, ready to begin?
Yes, Your Honor. In lieu of testimony, I think that I can announce that the parties have reached an agreement. I believe that, based upon my conversations with Ms. Kincaid, that Ms. Sansom is willing to agree to work how the services is set forth in the affidavit that was attached to our petition, including maintaining housing, looking for maintaining employment, doing an OSAR assessment, and working any drug services as recommended, parenting classes, counseling classes, mental health treatment from her doctors, and that she'll maintain contact with the departments. And if that's her agreement, Your Honor, we won't present any testimony today.
Okay, and obviously access to the children in the home.
Yeah, correct, Your Honor. And then she'll provide us with releases for her doctors.
Okay, Ms. Kincaid, is that your client's agreement today?
It is our agreement. I think there were a few things that Ms. Sansom wanted to express to you. So I did want to give her that opportunity, but that's our agreement, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Zavala, is this your agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. And you believe that's in the best interest of the children?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Zavala, have you had access to the children yet?
I have not yet. My plan was to see them at Little Nest yesterday, and that did not work out, but I hope to in the future.
Okay. All right, Ms. Sansom, I'll give you an opportunity to tell me what's on your mind and see if I can answer any questions you may have. And
Jada, you'll have to unmute. Oh, sorry, Judge.
Oh, that's okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to see if I'll be able to get Damien, my first son, full custody of him from his father, Darren Hatley, because of the things that he does to my son. I've had Damien for a week now, and the things that he's been showing me and like telling me, it just does not make sense to me. You know, like my son, he would lay down in my vagina area and start.
Hang on, Your Honor, can I give her some questions to answer?
Yeah, sure. You want me to?
Okay.
Swear?
Please, Your Honor.
Ms. Sansom, if you'll raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, all right. And if we're going to get into areas that may be sensitive to the privacy and confidentiality of a child, I want somebody to let me know, because we generally will stop the live stream if we're getting into those kinds of things.
Your Honor, I'm going to try not to get into that, and maybe that's something that can be discussed with the individuals who are assisting her.
Okay.
Okay, Jada, you're the mom, the subject of this suit, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the kids are currently in daycare, is that correct?
Well, Elijah is, but Darren actually took Damien away this morning.
Okay, but he's enrolled at the daycare, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have stable housing, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're looking for employment currently, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have one today.
Okay, an interview?
Yes, ma'am, with TPC.
Okay. And you've been in contact with the department, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that they're going to ask you to work some services, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're willing to work those services, is that correct?
Of course.
Okay. And you have some concerns about your children's safety, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And without going into details about that, you would like some assistance regarding those safety concerns?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is that something that you can talk with the department about and allow them to investigate those concerns?
Of course.
Okay. And, you know, in our discussion, you've said that you want to be a great mom. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're willing to do, you know, the things that the department asks you to do so that, you know, this can be dismissed and we can move on. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. And my recollection is that the children have different fathers, correct?
Yes, they do.
All right. One is Darren Hatley.
Yes.
And the other one is
Trey Carter.
Okay. Yeah. So your immediate concern is about Mr. Hatley, it sounds like, but let me ask you, do you have any court orders regarding that child, Ms. Sampson? I don't recall reading that you did.
I do not. I don't.
Okay. I'm sure Ms. Kincaid will talk with you about this, but that may be something you need to pursue right away through the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
Because he isn't involved in this case. So I have no jurisdiction to make any orders about him and his relationship with the child or his rights with the child. In an order to participate case, I don't make those kinds of decisions. Okay. So you could pursue that with the Attorney General, and Ms. Kincaid can probably give you a little more guidance about that. So there's not a lot that I can do. Just so you know, there's not much that I can do that has to do with Mr. Hatley or his potential parental rights or any of that. You really need to get that taken care of through the Attorney General.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I don't know whether that helps or not, but I just want you to understand that I'm limited in what I can do in this kind of case.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I am trying, but, you know, transportation has been a little off. So, but whenever I go to my appointment today with TPC, you know, I'll let them know everything that they need to know, because I'm pretty sure they can be able to help me out a little bit, you know.
Yeah, maybe they can help get you down to the Attorney General's office. I think you generally have to make an appointment with those people, you know, get on their schedule. And but you know, your attorney can probably help you, and then maybe somebody at TPC can also help you.
Okay,
Your Honor, we can talk with her after this hearing.
Okay, great. Because it kind of sounds like that. I sort of had that in my mind as I read through the affidavit that was presented, that in all practicality, these folks probably need some orders and some rules in place. Okay. All right then, Ms. Sampson, I appreciate your willingness to work with us on this. I'm just going to tell you that as I reviewed this when this case was presented to me, you know, I have real concerns just about you taking care of your mental health. We want you to take care of that. We're here to try to assist you in sort of getting all that on track, and between the help that some of these folks can give you and your physicians. You know, I'd like to see you kind of, you know, get on top of this and get this under control, because when you've had some of these sort of episodes and, you know, breakdowns, I know the children haven't been harmed, they haven't been abused, they haven't appeared to be neglected, but, you know, it's a little frightening because of their age. So, you know, and they're living, there's no one else there in the home with you. So I just want to stress to you how important it is that you work closely with TPC and with your doctors.
Right. Yes, ma'am. And I'm doing that.
Okay. And then this can all have a very positive outcome. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The last thing we want to do is pull kids out of the house. Okay. So that's an absolute last resort. And as long as you're working with us and you're trying to address these issues, there would be no reason for me to do that. If you aren't addressing these issues, it could take a different direction. Okay. But And I'm not saying that to you as any kind of threat. I'm just being honest with you that I do have some concerns, and I want to make sure that you really take this seriously.
Yes, and I will. I am actually.
Okay. All right. Then that's your and my agreement, and I appreciate that. So we will have what we call a compliance hearing, and that's just kind of to review how things are going. And that'll be on June 11th. And that will be on a 9 o'clock docket. So it's kind of like today. My docket starts at 9. I may have a number of cases. Yours could be at 9 o'clock, but your lawyer can tell you exactly what time slot you'll have. So it might be 9:15, it might be 9:30. But you can just check in with Ms. Kincaid and she can tell you exactly when you need to log in.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. Good luck on your job search and everything else between now, and I'll see you back in June. So at this time, I will approve the request for the court ordered services. I will sign an order to that effect, and will require Ms. Sansom to maintain housing, employment, to undergo an OSAR, and any recommendations that may come out of that, parenting, counseling, working with her mental health providers, maintaining contact with the department, obviously giving access to the home and the children, and to provide releases to the department for her private physicians so that that information can be shared with the folks that it needs to be. That information obviously does not need to be shared with anybody that does not have to have access to that. So everybody be mindful about privacy issues in this regard. Okay. Thank you all so much, and I will see you back in June.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
good
you,
luck.
Judge. And for those folks who were subpoenaed by me as witnesses, I appreciate you all being here, and y'all are all excused.
Yeah, thank you everybody very much. I appreciate everybody's time.
Have a good day.